Good morning and welcome to the beautiful Gulf of Oman. We're in the Middle East for this, the third and final group game for both these two sides. Oman, the hosts, are taking on the Maldives. Andrew Leonard here, bringing you these pictures this morning for the Asian Cricket Council, association with cricket clubs and all the team here. And Oman, no surprise to see them winning the toss and deciding to bowl first. The reason they've done that, they need a big net run rate boost. I'm going to take a look at the points table. And the reason the points table is looking the way it is, probably the favoured side coming into this week's tournament. Oman, ranked 17th in the world. They can't stop winning in associate cricket. But yesterday they didn't win. They went down to a heavy defeat to Qatar. Not only have they taken the loss, but they've slipped behind Bahrain in the table, who scored a big win over on Academy Oval 2 yesterday over the Maldives. It's a David versus Goliath clash today. 17th ranked in the world, Oman, against the 74th ranked in the world, Maldives. It's going to be very difficult for the Maldives to be competitive here. But we were talking with their management this morning, and they fancy their chances. So let's take a look at the two sides. The Maldives, just one change for them. Chandana Lianga's come out of the side and brought back into the team is Ibrahim Ahmed. You'll get to see the leg breaks alongside the opening batsman of the brilliantly named Muta Thariga Nalantha Kore. 42 years young, Kore, but he nearly had a T20 I-50 yesterday. Made 40 and bowled beautifully, 2 wickets. But keep an eye out for the big man, Hassan Ibrahim. Probably the star player in my book for the Maldives. Let's take a look at the Oman team. 2 changes for them. Deeply unhappy with their performance yesterday. Head coach Duleep Mendes has rung the changes. He's whipped out of the squad Kali Mullah, the big tall fast bowler, and Kurram Khan's had the chop as well. Into the team have come Wasim Ali and Sufyan Mahmood. But as it so often is for Oman, it's going to be Bilal Khan with the ball to start from the pavilion end. I'm delighted to bring you every ball of this Asian Cricket Council Western Region Asia Cup qualifier. And we're going to have a home side sensing blood. They're looking for blood and they're looking for a huge win. The reason they've chosen to bowl first is to try and knock Maldives over in as short a time as possible before going out and chasing down these runs. I'm going to rely upon Bilal Khan to get them off to the perfect start. Here we go. Movement immediately and runs immediately. Just worked off the legs, and we're very nearly going to start with a boundary, but a superb piece of fielding. Absolutely outstanding down there on the fine leg rope. I'm just trying to spot who that is. Bit of low sun into play this morning has saved 2 runs. And he gets a big pat in the back from his teammates as well. It's the great man Mohammed Adeem down at fine leg. 37 years young. Diving full length to his right and cutting off a certain boundary. Saves 2. Really good start. Nalantha Kore opening the batting with a change of partner at the top. Tharaka Ruwan Kamara, the non-striker's end. Great start for the Maldives and great cheers across to the right. Runs off the first 2 deliveries. Bilal Khan not quite finding his line and length yet. Just straying down the leg side for the first 2 deliveries. Nalantha Kore top scored yesterday with 40 for the Maldives in a defeat to Bahrain. They were outclassed. Really, they had their moments, particularly the spinners through the middle. Nalantha Kore himself bowled a beautiful 4-over spell of leg breaks. And Adam Umar was very impressive with his off-spin as well, but the seamers were harshly treated yesterday by Bahrain. It's a beauty from Bilal Khan. Good pace. Arguably the foremost bowler in associate cricket, foremost seam bowler in associate cricket these days, Bilal Khan, winner of the ESPN Cricinfo Associate Bowling Performance of the Year. Just had the big man Mohammed Rashid walk past our commentary position. He's been hitting a few balls in the nets. We've seen him at number 3 for the Maldives in first 2 matches. And will that be the case? Comes with a big reputation. It's a big ball, Rashid, but hasn't got going this week yet. And yesterday, the Maldives batting lineup at all couldn't get going. They needed 9.5 and over right from the off. They were never up with the rate. And although at one point they were 90 odd for 3, they collapsed in a heap to complete their 20 overs, 121 for 9. So a heavy defeat yesterday to Bahrain. Slower ball right into the half volley slot, but can't be put away by Taraka Kumara. 2 men at the crease, Taraka Kumara and Alantha Kore, both of Sri Lankan origin. Only three of this Maldives squad have learnt their cricket outside of the Maldives. And remember, if you've been listening or watching our coverage this week, this is a side, the Maldives, without a single turf wicket in the country. Anywhere. Short ball, attempted cut shot, beats him outside the off stump. Not quite the start that Bilal Khan was looking for, perhaps. But just 3 runs coming from the first over. Maldives 3 for none. So here comes the points tables on your screen. Just to explain the format to you again in this Western Region Asian Cricket Council Asia Cup T20 qualifier. It's part of the road to the Asia Cup 2020. And Qatar are currently in the box seat in this Group A. And UAE in the box seat in Group B. 2 sides go through and they progress to the semi-finals. And when they go to the semi-finals, it's a winner takes all in those semi-finals. So whether you finish first or second in the group, the only thing that it affects is who you play in the semi-final. First from Group A will play second from Group B and vice versa. First from Group B playing second from Group A. You see Mohammed Adeem open the bowling from the Al Emirat end. And into the pads of Alantha Kore for a leg bite. So those semi-finals will be tomorrow. And we could have the prospect of a huge clash. The clash of the Gulf cricketing giants in the associate world. That would be the UAE against Oman. They're the 2 highest ranked teams in this tournament. 15th and 17th ranked in the world respectively. But Qatar threw the cat amongst the pigeons yesterday by taking a comprehensive 34-run win over the hosts, Oman. And to be honest, they were worth every second of their 34-run win. They wholeheartedly deserved that win. Highly impressive, Qatar. But for the Maldives, they're just trying to make a mark in this tournament. It will be their last game. There is no classification matches or plate competition. So if you lose your group games, you are knocked out. Big swing and a miss outside the off stump. Mohammed Adeem got a real head of steam up yesterday, and there was a nasty moment during the Qatar batting innings. Kamran Khan, their star man, who's made back-to-back T20 I50s in the first 2 games, was struck in the side of the head by a sharp, rising, steepling bouncer from Mohammed Adeem. Adeem immediately went to check on Kamran Khan, and we haven't heard from the Qatar camp yet, but we do know that Kamran Khan was sent to hospital for a precautionary scan. Can only hope he's alright. Going to be the first boundary of the day. If the outfield continues to do what it's doing all week, it will just be reined in shy of the rope by Amir Kaleem, the 38-year-old veteran of this Oman side. So just a couple more runs to the total. No real timing into the leg side, despite the quick outfield. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the man at the non-strikers end, Alantha Kore, 42 years young. He's played 100 first-class matches. Naturalised Maldivian citizen now of Sri Lankan origin. Playing the vast majority of those matches in his originally native Sri Lanka. So yeah, these 3 Sri Lankans in the Maldives side, most wonderful names you'll ever hear. I'm going to run through the 3 of them at the crease at the moment on strike. We've got Mutatanthriga Nalanthakore. The non-strikers end, we've got 5 names. Tharaka Ruan Kumara Ihala Gadara. And then not in the starting 11 today. He played yesterday, Chandana and Wikram Lianga. So certainly testing us out in the commentary box this week. Andrew Leonard here on Academy Oval 1. Barney Reid, my colleague, across on Academy Oval 2. He's bringing you the pictures of UAE against Saudi Arabia. And that one is veered wildly down the leg side and not what Oman wanted. 5 freebies. Yeah, let's take a look at the replay of this. Mohammed Adeem, who has been getting up some real pace. It looked to me like there was some significant movement down the leg side. There was. Look at that. His wrist position, just getting behind the ball completely. He was probably looking for the leg stump Yorker, but really wild and erratic from Mohammed Adeem. So unlike him. Doesn't usually take the new ball for Oman. Quite often we see Kalimullah with that new ball. He struggled a bit in the T20I format. Kalimullah left out today. We did see him wield the willow yesterday. 2 massive 6s from the big 6'6" fast bowler. Direct hit's going to be close. Good fielding, but the end result will be a dot ball. 2 overs gone. The Maldives off to a pleasant start. They're 12 for none. So Bilal Khan's going to continue. We usually see him bowl 2 overs with the new ball and then generally the 2 death overs as well. So effective at the death with his left arm coming around the wicket to the right-handers. Yeah, so this one of 2 games in progress. The Group A match. The Oman Cricket Academy Turf 1 ground. And across the way, Barney Reid's bringing you pictures of Saudi Arabia against the UAE. Saudi Arabia, remember, must win. They have to upset UAE today. And I might be wrong, but I just expect a big performance from Saudi Arabia. So disappointing in their opening match, losing to Kuwait. UAE batting first over there. 20 for none in the 3rd over. Bilal Khan looking for that slower ball again, but well picked up. Made a few comparisons about these 3 Sri Lankan origin players to some of their more famous Sri Lankan test players, and definitely a little bit of Tilakaratne Dilshan about Tharakawu Kumara, who's at the crease now. Not in terms of the same paradynamics, but just visually his setup. Similar, expansive through the offside. Big appeal given. That's going to be the first wicket. Celebrations for Oman. And that's exactly what they expect from Bilal Khan, a fast bowler of the highest quality. And that's the first wicket that falls. Celebrations, as you can see there. Oman know the importance of winning and winning big today. Here's the replay. Such a beautiful bowler, Bilal Khan. Elegant, rhythmic run-up. Sort of man you'd expect to see in some of the T20 franchise leagues. And yeah, for my money, that's pretty fair. Pitched on middle stump. Impact probably middle and leg. Worst case going on to hit leg stump. That's a really good decision for me. That's Riaz Karupkar from Qatar, the standing umpire at this pavilion end. The far end, who's currently at square leg. That's Mohammed Yunus from Bahrain. The 3rd umpire today is Rahat Ali Chowdhury from Saudi Arabia. And what's lovely to see this week is an old friend from Nepal as well. I'm sure we've got a few viewers tuning in from Nepal back in Kathmandu. But Buddy Pradhan is here, the foremost associate cricket umpire, arguably in the world, certainly in the Asia Cricket Council region. He's done about 40 ODIs now, and he's here as the umpire, trainer and assessor, trying to help these Asia Cricket Council match officials along in their careers. And on the whole, the umpiring's been pretty good this week. So one amusing moment yesterday where we think a leg bye might have incorrectly forgot to be signalled as they ran a bye to the keeper, where Barney Reid correctly pointed out that if that wasn't a leg bye, it should have been given out cut behind. Anyway, back to the action here. Mohammed Rashid in at number 3. Mohammed Rashid, the big man, comes with a big hitting reputation, but we haven't seen it so far this week. 12 in the opening match before making just 9 against the Maldives. 9 against Bahrain for the Maldives yesterday. He has 2 T20 I50s. And you can see there, he's into his work now. Stand and deliver stuff. Using the angle of Bilal Khan shaping the ball back into him, and that's a really pleasing shot. 4 runs. So just slightly over pitch, Bilal Khan looking for the Yorker. Perhaps not in full control of the shot, Mohammed Rashid, skewing off the inside edge a bit. But definitely all the way along the ground. So safe as houses, 4 runs. Brings up the end of the 3rd over. Score 16 for 1. It's the most glorious day here today in Al Emirat. We're about 15 minutes outside of Muscat, the old original town and city of Muscat. Beautiful drive through the valley to come up and get here, and you probably can't quite hear it on your stream there at home, but wildlife all around this ground, beautiful birds tweeting and whistling to start the morning, and about the perfect cricketing weather. Probably 25, maybe 26 degrees. Not too sure what the thermometer is hitting, but not too hot. And just beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky this morning. Blue skies all around this Oman Cricket Academy facility here. Short ball, that's really good pace. Just back of a length. Coming right up and hitting the splice of the bat of the 42-year-old Nalantha Corey. So Mohammed Adeem, as we saw him yesterday, building up ahead of steam. We were talking with Herbert Labouche yesterday about Oman's strength and conditioning coach about which is the fastest of the bowlers on show. I thought maybe Kali Mullah, but he reckoned it was Mohammed Adeem. He's surprisingly quick as well. He's skiddy. Keeps coming at you as a batsman. Pull shot not in control. Straight down the throat of Bilal Khan, who takes the easy catch. And Nalantha Corey, he made 40 yesterday. He's only going to make 3 today. That's all a little bit too easy for Oman. The 2nd wicket falls. Just as we were talking about, Mohammed Adeem is at you as a bowler. He gets in a really well-directed short ball right up towards the throat of Nalantha Corey. Attempts the pull hook shot. And a good catch from Bilal Khan. So that's the end of Nalantha Corey. Falls for 6. Falls for 3 even. From 6 deliveries. The Maldives fall further after what was a promising start. Let's take a look at their batting card. The new man to the crease. It's Rashid. So he'll come in and slot in at number 4. But our two longly named openers for the Maldives, both falling for 3 off 7 deliveries it was, in fact, and 3 off 12. So not the start the Maldives would have wanted. They lost the toss this morning, sent in to bat first. The batsman didn't cross, so the new man, Rashid, will be on strike. Big swing and a miss outside the off stump. Through to the keeper, Suraj Kumar. Suraj, by his own lofty standards, did not have a good day yesterday. Allowed at least 7 or 8 byes through, in addition to some tardy glove work, very unlike Suraj Kumar. And then to follow it up, played a really poor shot to just chip it straight to cover as the required run rate escalated in the Oman chase. Concerning thing for Duleep Mendes is with Iqbal out due to a fractured finger, and none of his batsmen really making runs with the exception of Kaur Ali, but even Kaur Ali at the top hasn't been making those runs at a great rate. So very much today they've got a job to do. Knock over the Maldives for as low as possible, get a huge net run rate boost. The reason they need that net run rate boost is that if in the afternoon game Bahrain could beat Qatar, we would end up with 3 teams on 2 wins each. And the semi-final spots would then come down to net run rate. And with the way the Qatari net run rate is, there's almost no chance they can be caught. So Oman have to make sure they get a big boost against the Maldives here this morning. Heaved into the leg side. That's not going to help. Stand and deliver stuff again. Definitely agricultural, but into the hitting arc of Rashid. That's his first boundary of the morning. Maldives 20 for 2 after 4. Yeah, there's the replay. The ball flying away to the boundary. 4 overs gone. Maldives 20 for the loss of 2 wickets. We're going to see spin for the first time today. As we so often do, we see Bilal Khan just bowl 2 overs at the top. We're going to see the left arm spin. The youngster Wasim Ali, his 3rd T20I, still looking for his first wicket. Just 21 years of age, brought into the squad for this Western Region tournament. Not in the team for the Tri-Series in Kathmandu. So Wasim Ali into the attack in the power play. Remember, the first 6 overs of all T20 internationals, the power play of the match. And what that means is just 2 fielders are allowed outside the 30-yard circle. It's essentially a fielding restriction. And it's hit out to one of those 2 fielders outside the circle. That's Amir Kaleem. So the fielders at Oman and their captains Ishan Maqsood are choosing to have outside the circle at the moment are long on and deep mid-wicket. So no one in the deep on the offside. If Rashid decides to try and access that offside, if he can pierce the infield, he'll get himself a boundary. He tries to come down the track. He's probably looking to go over mid-off there, really. Skews off an inside edge to Mohammed Adeem for a single. He does get it through the offside. Mohammed Rashid, just as I was talking about it, those Fielding restrictions. He won't quite get a boundary because Ishan Maqsood will tidy up alongside Sandeep Good, who gets the diving stop in. They'll only run 2. No real turn on offer for Wasim Ali at the moment. Just really skidding on with the arm, using the angle, coming around the wicket. That one's a glorious shot. The shot of the day for the Maldives. I said with no men in the deep on the offside, you're taking a risk. The ball's not turning. Mohammed Rashid's thrown his hands through that one. And he gets a boundary to finish the 5th over. Here's the replay. It was slightly overpitched from Wasim Ali, and look at this for a shot. He throws his hands through and he holds the pose. He knows the photographers are out. That's brilliant batting from Mohammed Rashid. Really good stuff this from the Maldives. Not what Oman were hoping for at the moment. As Ishan Maqsood so often does when things aren't quite going the way that he wants, he takes the ball himself. He'll come into the attack. We'll have left arm spin now from both ends. This time from the Al Emirat end. But for me at the moment, Oman have questions to answer. Just came back from Kathmandu. A brilliant 4-0 series there for them. Hit into the leg side. No real control there. Fortunate to avoid the mid-wicket fielder. But Oman have been finding a way to always get it done in the associate world in recent times. You just wonder is tomorrow going to be the day where they become unstuck? Potentially playing the unbeaten UAE. Look at that for a shot down the ground. That's going to soar into the sky. This is why Mohammed Rashid comes with a big reputation. The first 6 of the innings flies high and handsome over the side screen. He just hit the shot of the innings, the ball before, or the over before. That's definitely the shot of the innings there now. Here comes the replays. Ishan Maqsood just flighted this one up temptingly. Gave it lots of air, and what a shot that is. Clears the front leg, hammers it down the ground. Mohammed Rashid has not stopped smiling this week. A big friendly man, despite the Maldives losing their opening 2, but he's giving them something to cheer now. Beats him outside the off stump, flatter through the air that time. You can see once bitten, twice shy for Ishan Maqsood. He's decided he's not going to be giving the ball any air to Mohammed Rashid. Flat and beats him outside the off stump. Worked into the leg side. Good batting. Good touch this time, and he wants 2. He's not going to get it. Jatinder Singh's quick to the ball. So I'm in a cat visit the commentary box here. Hearing those cheers. That one's hit down the ground as well, and mid-off's up in the circle. Really good fielding again. This time for the 2nd time from Mohammed Adeem innings. The Maldives taking their most profitable over of the innings so far. And good batting, just worked into the leg side. 11 runs coming from the over. Maldives finishing their power play with a flourish. 6 overs gone. They lost the toss, but they're 39 for 2. These two batsmen at the crease, 26 years of age. Hassan Rashid and Mohammed Rashid. But it might be difficult for Hassan Ibrahim, the big, tall, fast bowling all-rounder, to be surpassed as my favourite Maldivian player. But Mohammed Rashid is just starting to really tickle my fancy in the commentary box here. With the power play ended, it means Oman can put 5 men outside the circle, and that's what they've done. Picked out one of them there, Bilal Khan, in the deep. 5 fielders out at cover, long off, long on. And 2 in the deep on the leg side. In fact, sorry, that's not Bilal Khan. The 2 left-handers mixing me up. That's Amir Kaleem out at cow corner. The other man in the deep at square leg. Lovely batting from Mohammed Rashid through the offside. Wasim Ali into his 3rd T20I, still searching for his first international wicket, the 21-year-old. We haven't seen a huge amount of youth picked from this Oman setup in recent years. Their rise has been built on experienced cricketers. Once hit powerfully, slog swept into the deep. Straight to one of the most experienced cricketers in the Oman setup, Amir Kaleem. We'll see him bowl his left arm spin in a little while. So 3 left arm spinners in the team today. And of course those quite beautiful leg breaks of Kerala we'll probably see pretty shortly, I suspect. Beats him. Flat, quick through the air, and beats the attempted dab shot from just trying to dab it behind square in the offside, really, wasn't he, Mohammed Rashid? Just a slight break in play as Mohammed Rashid has to tie his shoelace. Worked into the leg side behind square, and Rashid not going to be able to get back for 2. Mohammed Adeem quick to the ball. So big cheers from the Maldives. They're happy with the way they're going at the moment. 7 overs gone. They're 43 for 2. We're not going to see the leg spin of Kerala just yet. Zishan Maqsood will continue. Short cutaway powerfully into the deep, and big work to do for Amir Kaleem in the deep, and he's a left-hander. He sprawls to his right and he can't claw it in. So the runs continue to flow for the Maldives. This is not what was in the game plan for Oman whatsoever. Wasn't a great delivery from Zishan Maqsood. Short and wide outside the off stump. Just sat up to be hit, really. It was powerfully cut away by Mohammed Rashid. Slower through the air, heaved into the sky. Has he got enough of it? He absolutely has. That one soars all the way for 6. The second time Zishan Maqsood's chanced his arm by flighting it up above the eye line of Mohammed Rashid. But with the power that Rashid possesses, he's good enough for that. Second 60 innings. Yeah, what a shot this one was. Tossed up teasingly outside the off stump by Zishan Maqsood. But into the real arc, the hitting arc of Mohammed Rashid. And back live with you now, and no surprise to see the next delivery flatter just like that one. But good batting this 11 runs off the over already. 11 runs coming off the first Zishan Maksud over. Not the day the Oman captain had planned at the moment. So that's going to close out the 8th over. 11 runs from it again. Zishan Maksud's got none for 22. The Maldives in great shape. 54 for 2 after 8. Beats him outside the off stump. So the left arm spin, the trial by left arm spin continues. Wasim Ali. Just give you a quick score update from Group B. The UAE taking on Saudi Arabia over there, and UAE in a spot of bother as well. 3 wickets down. The game's not going to plan whatsoever. Yeah, loving this knock from Mohammed Rizwan. Remember, he's already got 2 T20I half centuries. He's looking for his 3rd. Down the track, down the ground. These two working well in tandem now, just rotating the strike. Yeah, we were chatting to the Maldives management this morning, myself and Barney, and for a side that had taken 2 pretty heavy hammerings, they were really very confident. They felt that today was their day to make a big statement. And they're making a statement right now. Already on track for their highest total of the week. Remember, the adjustment that the Maldives side has to go through coming into these superb facilities, playing on beautiful grass wickets. They have no grass wickets in their country. Beautifully bowled. Wasim Ali can't believe that hasn't found the outside edge. Siraj Kumar quick through the overs. Good glove work. 9 overs gone. Maldives 57 for 2. Yeah, going to see that change in bowling. Zishan Maksud takes himself out of the attack. You have to think these are going to be 4 crucial overs from Kaur Ali, the leg spinner. And he's being treated with absolute disdain by Mohammed Rashid because he stands there, he holds the pose, and the reason he holds the pose, slightly over pitch from Kaur Ali, soars miles into the sky, all the way for 6. What a shot that is. And look at that, you've got to love that. He holds the pose. He says, that's how good I am. I'm going to smash this one down the ground. And you can see his teammates running a drink onto him because the ball's been lost. The Maldives are abuzz. You can imagine the scenes back in the Maldives right now, watching on our YouTube live stream. 2 heavy defeats to start. They're putting it right up to the pre-tournament favourites, the hosts Oman. Good comeback from Kaur Ali and really good fielding. He's a beautiful bowler to watch, Kerala. Such a craftsman with his leg spinners and googlies. Standing out as umpire, watching a few of the bowlers warm up, and Kerala was bowling the googlies to his coaches. They weren't picking them. Mohammed Rashid, he came into this tournament with a big reputation. I was told you have to look out for this Maldivian number 3. 26 years of age, the stocky figure. He's got such power. Look at this for a shot. Smashed down the ground. He moves to 45. And Oman have problems here. There's no hiding it. What a story this is. The 74th ranked in the world Maldives are currently putting it right up to the 17th ranked hosts Oman. Short cutaway. Not a good delivery from Kerala, but just the single. And that's the fear of the power that Rishwan possesses. Bowlers not getting their lengths full. They're scared to be pumped down the ground. 4 sixes Mohammed Rashid has hit already in his innings. Good comeback, worked into the leg side. Almost a bit of hesitation, but Mohammed Rashid gets the head down and scampers through to the keeper's end. Halfway stage of this game, the Maldives 71 for 2. That's the halfway stage. Mohammed Rashid, 46 not out off just 28 deliveries. He's been well supported. Cricket's all about partnerships. Well supported by Sheikh Rashid, who's got 13 off 13. Mozzie Mali's going to finish his spell in the pavilion end. That's really good batting. Get the big man back onto strike. Let's see if he can pongo one down to our commentary position here. He's already had a couple over long on. We could be in action. He's 4 away from a third T20 I-50. The 26-year-old. Good batting. He's mixed up his power game with some real touches of finesse as well. Particularly likes it off his legs. Got off the mark with a beautiful boundary along the ground off Bilal Khan. Oh man, a little at 6s and 7s right now. The home side are rattled. Big appeal. Surely sliding on down the leg side. Just take a look at the replay of that. He's not a big turner of the ball. Mozzie Mali just skids it on. Let's take a look at this replay. Yeah, clearly going down the leg side for my money. Back live with you now. Driven down the ground for a single. If you're just joining us, wherever you're joining us from around the world, you're seeing the advent of T20 international status at its very best. "57 places separate these two sides in the world rankings, but right now the Maldives are really putting it up to Oman. Remember, Oman chose to bowl first this morning. Look at that glorious punch down the ground, but straight to the man. So Mozzie Mali is going to have to continue to wait for that first T20 international wicket. A good spell, 4 overs, none for 18, but no wickets for him. 11 are gone. It's 74 for 2. Going to see a change in bowling, and this was not in the original game plan. There's no doubt about that. Kerala, one of the form bowlers of the tournament, the player of the match in the opening game, has been hit out of the attack by Mohammed Rashid. going to go to the all-round medium pace of Sufyan Mahmood. Haven't seen him bowl yet this week, so Zishan Maqsood, such a good captain, just maybe a little rattled at the moment and having to tear up the original game plan. They were supposed to roll over the Maldives for not too many. There's the 5 bowlers used so far, so Sufyan Mahmood will be the 6th bowler. But Kerr Ali's gone for 14, whipped out of the attack. Zishan Maqsood, the skipper himself, 2 overs, none for 22. And the runs continue to flow for the Maldives. 2 team changing rooms and dugouts are across to our right, about 15 to 20 metres away. And right now, you can only hear one of them. Every single run being cheered by the Maldives on the sidelines. And Oman, quiet as a church mouse. They're feeling the pressure. Yeah, good bowling from Sufyan Mahmood, and you can see why Zishan Maqsood has gone to his medium pacer. Just wants to try and get a bit of control back into this game. You can see on your screen there, just beneath the Maldives, the current run rate, 6.62. But realistically, Maldives looking at 140, 150 now. That's going to be 50. What a moment from Mohammed Rashid. His 3rd T20 International 50. He raises the bat. Look at the scenes of celebration. Sheer delight for him. He gets a standing ovation from his teammates on the sideline. His 3rd T20 I-50. And probably the best of his career. Third man was up in the circle. It's just back of a length really from Sufyan Mahmood, and it probably came off the cue end of the bat, the toe end of the bat. That's not the way he's going to remember the way he went to 50. Because here at the Oman Cricket Academy ground in Al Emirat, 15 minutes outside of Muscat, Mohammed Rashid has a 3rd T20 I-50, 4 4s and 4 6s, outstanding, 33 balls. And he's dropped. Hit to Zishan Maqsood, a backward point, and the skipper's put it down. It was hit powerfully, there's no doubt about that, but it's just burst through the hands of Zishan Maqsood. What a moment in the game that is. Extraordinary scenes here in Muscat. I'll have to be honest, this is not the match I was expecting to turn up and witness this morning. You would have thought that Oman would have come and really rolled over this Maldives side in as quick a time as possible, taking the win and a big net run rate boost. Right now, they've got real concerns about even if it's all hit off the spinners from this same end. Generally down the ground, although one of them was over cow corner. When I was doing my research for this event, I was told this man, Mohammed Rashid, packs a punch. Didn't show it in game 1 or game 2. He's showing it today. So 12 overs gone. Maldives 81 for 2. Mohammed Rashid's just going to get a change of gloves and a quick drink. And what we're going to bring you is the points table. Because any of the pundits following this Asian Cricket Council Western Region tournament closely would have been predicting Oman to take a big win and go back into 2nd place, maybe even 1st place in the table. But right now, if Oman lose, they're almost certainly out. I suppose Qatar could beat Bahrain by more than the Maldives would beat Oman by. But all of a sudden, there's all sorts of permutations possible that we wouldn't have thought possible. And what that means is that for the moment, Zishan Maqsood is going to have to keep shuffling his bowlers. He's bringing his 7th bowler in now, Amir Kaleem, the 38-year-old. Runs continue to flow. This time hit down the ground for a single. More good batting from Mohammed Rashid, this time through the offside. What the Maldives have to do is press on. They've got themselves into a good position in this match. Really good fielding at backward point. That's what Oman need to do. Get the pressure on. Build up a few dots. Full length diving stop. Sprawling away to his left from Sandeep Good, probably the standout fielder in this Oman side. Saves maybe not just a couple, maybe even a boundary. And these dot balls from the experienced Amir Kaleem, just bringing Oman back into it and building a bit of pressure on Hassan Asik. Short ball cutaway, just going to be a single. Such a clever bowler, Amir Kaleem. He knows his fields and his angles well. There's no doubt right now, Oman are rattled. They thought they were going to come out and blow the Maldives away. Hasn't been the case at all in the way that Mohammed Rashid's timing the ball. Could have a real game on here. Just a single, but hit powerfully into the deep. Tied over to start from Amir Kaleem. 7 overs remain in this first innings. The Maldives are 85 for 2. So Sufyan Mahmood's going to continue and he's going to be dispatched over the offside, short and wide. And the form that Mohammed Rashid is in means that he continues to wheel away. He's within touching distance now of a T20I career best as well. 67 is his career best. This is third T20I 50, remember? Short ball cut powerfully into the deep and powerfully to the right of the fielder in the deep, Wasim Ali, who does really well. But again, because he's a left-hander, he's running across to his right. Plenty of time for Rishwan to get back for 2. Slower ball, well picked by Mohammed Rashid, and he holds his shape pretty well. Hits it down the ground for a single. Today is a wonderful demonstration of why the ICC decision to grant T20 international status to all of its members was such a good one. Historically, this game wouldn't have mattered or counted or gone down in the record books. But now it's an official T20I, playing for ranking points in the T20 international rankings. All these stats going up on the Cricinfo website, of course. These games will be etched into the record books forever. And who's to say that if the Maldives could somehow turn over Oman here, it wouldn't be one of the biggest upsets, not just in T20 international history, but in cricketing history. 57 places between these two sides. Remember, Oman can't stop winning in associate cricket at the moment. The Maldives on top at the moment. Slower ball from Sufyan Mahmood, inside edged onto the pads. The only thing the Maldives need to be careful about is not doing what they did with the bat yesterday, which was just get a little bit stuck. They weren't able to push the run rate along. And Mohammed Rashid has a big job to do. He's 19 off 24. It's okay if he can start to push things along and find some boundaries. That run rate 6.65. They need to get that up towards 7.5 and over. They need at least 150 here, really. Powered down the ground towards long on. It's gone to his right. It'll just be a single. Keep going, keep going. The shouts from the sideline. 14 overs gone. Maldives 93 for 2. So Amir Kaleem's going to continue. Powered over the offside, straight towards long off, and a second catch has gone down. It was a really awkward one for Bilal Khan. Was that kind of in-between height? And he couldn't take the catch. It was hit very powerfully. It came quickly, but he was off balance trying to take the catch. Got two hands to it. And a second chance has gone down for Oman. No timing this time for Mohammed Rashid, and Rishwan's just got to be careful. He can't feel the pressure of the scoreboard not moving too much. He can't give it away here. Got to bat as deep as he can for the Maldives. Change in the field. Bilal Khan has been unceremoniously whipped out of long off, and he's been sent into purgatory down to short third man. Big left arm seamer. Powered into the offside. That one is taken. I just felt that something was going to give. You could almost sense it. Zishan Maksud holds on this time. He had dropped Mohammed Rashid just after he went to 50, but this time he takes a good catch going to his right. That's the third wicket. Yeah, as Oman celebrate, just taking a look at the stats for Mohammed Rashid. 61 from 43 deliveries. What a knock. As he walks off, 5 fours and 4 sixes. Sensational innings, his third T20 international half century. Gets a huge standing ovation from his teammates. And there's the new man to the crease. That's Adeem. Maldives just have to be careful not to fall away. They fell away badly in their innings yesterday. I think they were this exact score, 94 for 3, and they ended up only getting 121. They may not get into this position against such a high-ranked side again, so they may as well really go for it now. So Amir Kaleem showing the importance of experience here. Super spell from the pavilion end. Adeem works that into the leg side. Just going to be a single. Picked up by Sufyan Mahmood. One's hit into the leg side. Rashid just hasn't quite been able to get the scoreboard moving. 15 overs gone. The Maldives 96 for 3. So perhaps a touch surprisingly, Sufyan Mahmood's going to continue. I thought with the fall of Mohammed Rashid that Zishan Maqsood might go back to his leg spinner, back to Kaur Ali. We might have just seen the solitary over from the star leg spinner today. Those 2 big sixes from Mohammed Rashid down the ground. Slower ball and given. That one looked very high to me on first view, to be honest. But Mohammed Yunus from Bahrain has decided that's adjacent enough for him. Adam Umar's stay at the crease is a short one. He's gone for 1. Let's take a look at the replay. My initial instinct from our position was it looked quite high. Be interesting to see how adjacent it was. Yeah, certainly hits him well above the knee roll. Probably, no doubt, traps him right in front, but Mohammed Yunus had no doubt in his mind. That's all that matters. 4th wicket falls and the Maldives start to slide now, 97 for 4. The skipper, the new man to the crease, Mohammed Azam. He's off the mark immediately with the little inside edge into the onside. Oh man, just starting to drag this match back now. Well, Mohammed Rashid was going. The Maldives were looking at 140, 150, and a real chance of a quite gigantic upset. Described it earlier on as David versus Goliath in the associate world. Not a bad way to look at it, given the relative riches and quality of the 2 sides. Look at the facilities and the playing numbers. The Maldives have been impressive. That's a T20I career best now for Hassan Rashid. He moves into the 20s. 24 beating his previous best to 22. Direct hit's going to be close. And Siraj Kumar couldn't quite get there. Bilal, or Sufyan Mahmood, gives him the double teapot. Not happy with the keeper's efforts. And that's the 100 up. Coming inside the 16th over. Somehow the Maldives need to find the boundary in these last 4 and a bit overs. Worked into the leg side. The call is 2 from the non-striker, but not going to be able to get back. So that's the end of the 16th over. Maldives now 101 for 4. Just give you a quick score update from the other ground. 15 overs gone over there, and it's the experienced pairing of Chirag Suri and Rohan Mustafa that are hitting the UAE out of trouble. They were 50 for 3, they're now 135 for 3. So Saudi Arabia are going to need a really mammoth chase to keep their semi-final qualifications hopes alive. Bit of width from Amir Kaleem this time. Down to Jatinder Singh at long off. Station quite wide at long off there. Attempted reverse sweep and ends up somehow going to short fine leg. Perhaps coming off the under edge of the bat and skewing away. It's only really half an appeal from Amir Kaleem. Been very efficient in this spell though, Bold. His flat left arm orthodox. Through and around the wicket. Just angled it back into the right-handers, made it difficult to give any of the Maldivian batsmen anything to hit. Big appeal, and it's given us a wide. So an appeal for caught behind, followed by an appeal for a stumping. The umpires, both at the pavilion end, the standing end, that's Riaz Karupkar from Qatar, decides it's a wide, and then we went over to look at the square leg umpire, Mohammed Yunus from Bahrain, who decided the stumping wasn't out. So after all that palaver, the end result is an added run to the total, and Amir Kaleem will have to bowl that one again. Power down the ground, straight towards long on. He's dropped it. It's come straight towards our commentary position. It's gone over the head of Wasim Ali for 6. Looked like it was going straight down his throat, and it's ended up bursting through his hands. I think he just got a little fingertip on it. He's disgusted with himself right next to us here, just 5 or 10 yards in front of us. He lets out a yelp of frustration. Got nowhere near the pitch of the ball, Hassan Azeed Rashid, and we see on the replay here, yes, just a fingertip on it perhaps. But it burst through his hands for 6. Great camera work from our team there. That's exactly what the Maldives need. A few more maximums late in this innings. What have they got to lose? They can't qualify, but they're looking for the upset here, so may as well go for it these last 3 and a bit overs. Direct hit's going to be very close. Can't affect the direct hit. They will get through for the single. Going to bring up a Nelson, 111 for 4. 19 deliveries remain in this first innings of the final group games on day 3 of the Western Region Asia Cricket Council qualifier. Looks for the sweep. No real contact. And with 3 overs to go, Maldives 112 for 4. So with 3 overs left, we're going to see one of the foremost death bowlers in associate cricket come into the attack. That's Bilal Khan. As he always does to the right-handers, he'll come around the wicket. And watching your screens as to just the scale of extravagant movement he'll get back into the right-handers. Spearing the ball into leg stump, making it so difficult to give anything to hit away. Such a skillful bowler, Bilal Khan. Hearing cheers from the ground behind us, and that's a Saudi Arabia wicket that they're taking. Brilliant bowling, straight into the block hole. Good batting as well, well kept out by Mohammed Rashid, and they're going to try and get back for 2. And just about they will. Good running. In fact, they won't get back for 2. It's been given out. The umpire didn't get the finger up from what I could see. Perhaps he was so far from home that the run out was affected. So a suicidal second run. Bringing the replay here now. Didn't see the umpire get his finger up. Perhaps he just nodded his head and the batsman knew. So into the block hole, and guilty of just dawdling the first run. Complete suicide with the second one, really. Throw comes in, Suraj Kumar whips off the stumps, and of course, didn't need to put the finger up, he was well out. So a pretty catastrophic run out there for the Maldives, and a completely unnecessary one. Just as this innings from the Maldives was starting to gain some momentum. Falling away again. That's the batsman on strike. Here we'll bring you his stats. New man to the crease in for the Maldives at number 7. It's Hassan Ibrahim, the fast bowling all-rounder. Punches that one into the offside nicely for what's just going to be a single. Bilal Khan, so effective at the death for Oman. What a skillful bowler. Into his 3rd over here, he's got 1 for 10. Short ball. It's a little bit too quick. It's been signalled wide by the square leg umpire. Bilal Khan can't quite believe that one. And it will be signalled wide now by the standing umpire. Mohammed Yunus and Riaz Karupkar working in tandem together, as any good umpiring pairing does. Again, just hitting the block hole with reckless abandon, Bilal Khan. Two overs remain after this one. Can the Maldives scrape up to 140 somehow? I wouldn't think 125 or 130 is going to be enough, but remember, Oman are not just trying to win this game, they're trying to win with a big net run rate boost as well. Bowled him. Brilliant exhibition of his skills from Bilal Khan. That was a slower ball. And it gets straight through Hassan Ibrahim. Maldives slide further, 6 wickets down now. This is why he's so effective at the death. Look at him using the crease around the wicket. Extravagant movement through the defences of Hassan Ibrahim. 6th wicket to fall. The Maldives, who were really threatening earlier in their innings. At one stage, 90 for 2. And with the big man, Mohammed Rashid, smashing it everywhere, those 4 big sixes. I was getting awfully excited in the commentary box. I thought we had a chance of an upset. It's 74th in the world. And the Maldives will have some hope. Their best batting total of the week there in store for you, you'd have to think. They made 121 yesterday against Bahrain. Bowled all out for very little in the opening game for them against Qatar. Qatar, the standout side at the moment in Group A. We'll be looking to make it 3 from 3 this afternoon. So that's the end of the 18th over. The Maldives 118 for 6. At this stage, let's take a look at the points tables. And I say points tables because both Group A and Group B in action right now. 2 games every day through these group stages. 9:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. starts local time. And Oman sitting in 3rd, surprisingly. But later on this afternoon, Qatar against Bahrain. It's going to be the match that decides this group. It could end up with the remarkable situation of Bahrain beating Qatar, and if Oman can complete the win over the Maldives, all 3 teams ending up on 4 points. But the Oman and their home crowd, they still have plenty of work to do. They've got to close out this win here. It's not a given by any stretch of the imagination. Amir Kaleem's not going to finish the spell. The left arm spinner taken out of the attack, and Mohammed Nadeem brought in. Change of ends from Mohammed Adeem as well, coming now from the pavilion end. Yeah, well dug out. Finds the block up. Ibrahim Ahmed, the new man to the crease. Just like yesterday, this Maldivian innings losing momentum late in the piece. Really, Mohammed Rashid was the only one who was scoring at more than a run a ball, and all of a sudden that run rate back down to about 6.5 and over. Can they find some late momentum? Need to find the ropes here somehow. Nicely steered down to 3rd man, but singles aren't going to do it for the Maldives at the moment. 10 deliveries remain, 120 comes up. If they can only take 10 singles from the last 10 balls, you'd have to think 130 is under par from where they were. And you can see the lack of noise in the ground. The Maldives, all of a sudden, their bench has gone quiet. Beautifully bowled, back of a length. And it beats Ibrahim Rashid outside the off stump. So dot ball's not what you want at this stage of the innings if you're watching on from the Maldives. You're watching on at great numbers. More than 2,000 concurrently on the YouTube live stream here on the Asian Cricket Council feed. Remember, we're streaming every ball of this tournament. Yeah, over 2,000 people, which is great to see. Thank you for joining us from wherever you're watching right the way around the world. Power down the ground, straight as a die. Are they going to find the rope? They are. There's never any fielders. Straight down the ground. And that one thuds into the side screen. It was a little aerial at first, and that's a boundary 4. A bit of a nothing delivery, really, from Mohammed Nadeem. I think he was looking for the slower ball, perhaps a leg cutter. And Ibrahim Rashid gives it the full face of the bat. Hit down the ground for a 4. They need to find 2 or 3 more of those in these last 8 deliveries. It's the highest score of the week, though, for the Maldives. Good pace. Really good comeback from Mohammed Adeem. Too quick for Ibrahim Rashid. Much shorter in length, and he just dangles the bat out at it, trying to get something on it, but he can't make any contact. Tempted to power one straight down the ground again, but just comes off the outside edge into the deep. It's going to end the penultimate over of the match with a single. Penultimate over of the first innings even. Maldives 125 for 6 now. Just take a look at the over by over chart and you can see all those big blocks in the middle. They were coming from the bat of Mohammed Rashid, but it almost seems like you had a good over, then a quiet over, a good over, and a quiet over. And the reason for that was, despite Hassan Haseek Rashid's T20I career best, he could just never quite get going. So, as Mohammed Rashid couldn't get the strike, he tended to have those quieter overs. Just take a really quick look at the bowling figures before Bilal Khan gets ready to bowl this final over. And for you, you're going to end up running through for a bye, but you can see with the bowling figures on your screen that Bilal Khan will bowl the final over. But 7 bowlers used. Things didn't go to plan today for Zishan Maqsood. Himself, his left arm spin, and Kaur Ali, both expensive. Looks for the paddle sweep. Comes well outside the off stump, and that's the reason it won't be signalled wide, even though it misses the leg stump. Great death bowling from Bilal Khan. What an asset he is for Oman. Can't think of too many competitors for his crown of the foremost fast bowler in associate cricket. Maybe Safian Sharif of Scotland, Ali Khan of USA when he's playing for the Americans. Maybe Karan KC of Nepal, but really Bilal Khan. So effective at the death. Gonna think about 2, they won't take it. Just a single. World class bowling this from Bilal Khan. Another beautiful day here in Muscat. So that's the scene at the halfway stage of this Academy Oval 1. The Maldives walk off with what is a somewhat disappointing 129 for 7, even though it's their highest score of the week. They're in a position to probably go on and post over 150, maybe even 160, while Mohammed Rashid was really ticking. But the whole innings was built around that 61 from him. And a career best for Hassan Haseek Rashid. 34 he made. But the innings just tailed away. Combination of brilliant death bowling, a good spell from Amir Kaleem, and some ineffective middle order hitting from the Maldives meant they just couldn't get any momentum going. Remember, this was a Maldives side that were 94 for 2 at one stage. The bowling, Bilal Khan outstanding again. The only surprise really, Kaur Ali struggles. Hit for 2 sixes, whipped out of the attack. And Zishan Maqsood didn't go back to his star leg spinner. 7 bowlers used. Oman had to tear up the plans and get out the plan B and maybe even plan C at one point. And what all that means is that at the halfway stage of this, the final group game for both of these sides in the Western Region Asian Cricket Council T20 Asia Cup qualifier. You see there as to why it's so important that Oman get the win. They've got to get themselves back into second place. But what it means is that Oman will need 130, and they'll be looking to score it as quickly as possible, but most importantly, they'll need to ensure they take the 2 points. We'll be back with you with every ball of the chase in about 15 minutes' time. Good morning and welcome back to the Al Emirat Cricket Grounds, the Oman Cricket Academy, here in the beautiful Sultanate of Oman. We've got another perfect day for cricket. And the Maldives have made 129. Many a run more than Oman would have liked. It's the usual opening partnership for Oman. Kaur Ali and Jatinder Singh. Kaur Ali on strike. And one of the most impressive bowlers of the tournament for me, with the ball in hand, it's Hassan Ibrahim. 28-year-old, tall, wiry, fast bowler. He really has pushed the needle in terms of pace and skills. It's a particularly good Yorker. Lots of talent in this Maldives side, and they've put in their best performance of the week so far at the moment. Look at that, really good bowling. Just a good back of a length and hitting the splice of the bat. Just going to give you a bit of a quick update from the other game going on in process. Remember, you can watch that on our Asian Cricket Council YouTube channel as well. That's over on the second of the two Turf Academy ovals here. Saudi Arabia have had a stirring fight back against the UAE. Again, a huge gap. As Jatinder Singh gets off the mark with a single. And I think the loud cheers I'm hearing across the way is because the big hitting star for the UAE, Bilal Khan, is getting them off to a flyer. 8 for none they are, chasing down 150 odd. The UAE collapsed after Chirag Suri made 75, so wouldn't rule out that we might have another huge upset. The second big upset in 2 days over on that Academy Oval too. But for now, all eyes here. Oman need to win this match and win it in a hurry. Get the net run rate boost that they need. Their batsmen, being honest, are a bit out of form. Nicely hit into the leg side and a misfield. Really poor piece of fielding that. It should have been a regulation single. And the misfield is going to allow 4 runs into the team today. Ibrahim Ahmed. And he's had a bit of a shocker there at mid-on. The first boundary of the innings goes to Kaur Ali. Big appeal, but it's surely not only too high, but maybe angling down as well. Thuds into the thigh pad. I haven't seen any signal from the umpire, so I think he's given that as runs. Not sure there was any bat in that. I'll try and bring you the replay here. Maybe there was 2 noises. Let's take a look. Standing umpire up at the Al Emirat and Mohammed Yunus. Big appeal, particularly from the bowler. God, that looks very adjacent to me. I don't think there was any bat involved, but he's given us runs. Perhaps a life for Kaur Ali. I thought at first view that it might have been too high, but for my money, that was a very good shout looking back. 7 runs coming from the first over. At the end of 1, it's 7 for none. So going to be Emil Maroof to open up with his left arm. Medium fast from the pavilion end. And the Maldives could have maybe got that toe up to 150, 160 even with the way they were attracted at one point. Wonderful striking from Mohammed Rashid, the Maldivian number 3. A glorious straight drive down the ground. Just going to be a single. But Oman have a bit of a life. Kawarali struck on the pad in that first over. Look to me and Chiku here on the sidelines as though we struck him right in front. Very good shout. The keeper didn't go up quite as much as the bowler. The umpires ended up adjudicating that it's made some kind of a contact with the batter glove because he's given it his runs. Just strays down the leg side. Emil Maroof, very expensive yesterday. 4 overs, 1 for 56. Direct hit could have been close. Maldives are going to fight for their lives here. They'll be knocked out of this Asian Cricket Council Western Region T20 qualifier. Whatever happens as they scamper through for an overthrow. Not quite sure how they got through for an overthrow there. They've lost their first 2 games. Even if they win today, they'll be knocked out. But they're going to fight for their lives to try and take a huge upset. They're ranked 74th in the world. Oman 17th. And perhaps that 17th doesn't do Oman justice in this format. Short ball. It's flicked off potentially thigh pad or maybe a little bit of glove. It's going to be the thigh pad or maybe the flap of the first leg buys of the innings. Going to be 4 runs. Strain in line again, Maroof. And you can just see the ball running away to the boundary. Umpire signalling 4 leg buys. So Mohammed Emil Maroof's struggles with the ball continue. Over pitch this time, hammered down the ground, but one of the 2 men outside the circle is at long off. This power play, first 6 overs, remember, just 2 fielders allowed outside the circle. So one on the outside, one on the leg side. The man out at, it's really an old-fashioned cow corner. And also the other one out at long off. So fine leg and third man both in the circle. Going to be an interesting chase this because none of the Omani batsmen have shown any form this week. Kawarali's made consecutive back-to-back 38s, but even in both of those innings, never really quite got going. Remember, this is a Oman side that were so dominant in the Tri-Series and Cricket World Cup League 2. Looks for the wide Yorker, skews off the outside edge. Remember, third man and fine leg in the circle, so there'll be plenty of time to get back for 2. 10 runs coming from the second over, albeit 4 of them being leg buys. 6 against the bowlers' figures. Oman 17 for none. Sorry, back live with you now. Just losing audio for a second. Actually, my fault turning the mic off accidentally. So no technical problems, just my apologies for that. Andrew Leonard here in the Sultanate of Oman. Bring you the replay of that last ball, the straight drive cannoning into the stumps. Not too sure how this one didn't go for four. Slightly over pitched, probably looking for the block hole, but straight into the stumps. They run through for the single. Back live with you now. You can see both Jatinder Singh and Kerala, two very fine cricketers, very fine batsmen, but they just haven't been able to find their rhythm with the bat this week. I was just talking probably as you lost the audio there for a moment or two about how impressive Hassan Ibrahim has been. Indeed, all of the sides have got lots of talent. They may be ranked 74th in the world, but Hassan Ibrahim, what a bowler. Imran Anwar from Bahrain, the left armour. He's a good one as well. There's the slog sweep, finally clearing the infield, but it will get all the way for a boundary despite the best efforts of Hassan Ibrahim. So runs starting to flow now, and this chase for Oman looking under control. Yeah, slog sweep, even though it's off the medium pace of Ahmed Emil Maroof. I thought Ahmed Emil Maroof might be given a rest today after what was a very challenging day for him yesterday. 4 overs, 1 for 56. That's better from Kerala. Down the track, gets to the pitch of the ball. The batsmen have been licking their lips at the bowling of Maroof this week. Back-to-back boundaries. He's no more than military median, Ahmed Emil Maroof, and he hasn't found any great movement either, so that there, just right into the slot. Too easy. Kerala, back live with you now. Punched into the onside for a single. Remember, net run rate could come into play here. We're going to have almost an overthrow as well. Liam Shafiq shine at the stumps. 10 runs already from this over off just 4 deliveries. Temperature starting to escalate in Muscat. It's a warm day now. Probably the first time this week we're going to nudge up towards 30 degrees. 27 degrees on the thermometer to my left right now. So we might just nudge the 30 today. This time punched into the offside cast. Can't pierce the infield. Yeah, Jatinder Singh, a batsman of such high quality, just struggled a touch over the course of the last month or two. Hasn't got the weight of runs that you would be accustomed to, of course. Opening the batting late for Oman in the T20I format. You can see he's almost just trying to play his way back into form. So 4 overs gone, 11 runs coming from that over. Score 34 for none. So we're going to see spin for the first time today from the Maldives, and spin in the shape of Adeem coming around the wicket and immediately strays down the leg side for a wide. Maldives bench really shouting at their team, trying to get their players going. That one soars into the sky, could be half a chance, and the big man's not going to get there. And he'll cut off the second though. Kerala is really trying to press the accelerator button. But as Oman have done all week, just not able to find their best form. Losing surprisingly to Qatar yesterday. This game today not going the way they'd have expected. And remember, net run rate could be a factor if Bahrain can beat Qatar later. That would leave 3 sides on 2 wins each. If Qatar beat Bahrain, then Oman are through in second no matter what. That would leave Qatar winning the group and Oman finishing second. Could well set up an Oman versus UAE semi-final. But I don't think that Oman are going to get the scale of net run rate boost that they were expecting, even if they do go on to win this game. Dropped. It's straight back to Adeem, and that should have been taken. You can see head in hands there for many of the Omani fielders. It was simply chipped straight back to him. Here's the replay. This should have been held. It was a leading edge really from Kerala, who's tried to force the ball. I think it's going to be, we're just going to stay with the replay. Chipped straight back to him and dropped. An easy chance to his left. Back live with you now, and Jatinder Singh has just scampered through for a single. How costly is that drop going to be? Adeem. Pulls that one from about 24 yards. Airily hit wide of the 2 men. And a really impressive chase in the deep is going to save 2 runs. That's super fielding. Tharaka Ruhan Kumara doing the fielding. Great commitment from the Maldives. 5 overs gone. Oman 42 for none. So a second change in bowling, and we're going to see the man who was just doing the fielding come in. Tharaka Kumara with his off breaks. Jatinder Singh looks for the switch hit, and that is not a good piece of cricket at all. Skews off the top edge and just loops over the head of the keeper. Even though Oman are going to chase this total down, it looks like they're not doing it in convincing fashion whatsoever. That one again skews off another edge. Neither Kerala nor Jatinder Singh finding anything like the middle of the bat. Down the leg side, poor bowling. He's going to get that one away. Coming around the wicket with his off breaks. Wide outside the leg stump, and for the second time we're going to have 4 leg byes. That one's really darted into the pads. Lack of timing and consistency for Oman's batsman continues. You can just see neither Kaur Ali nor Jatinder Singh, as the throw comes in, they're going to run an overthrow. That's really poor from the Maldives. No need to put that throw in. So just coming to the end of the power play now. Just one ball remains and Oman a run shy of 50. They're not going to get there. So 49 runs come from that power play. No wickets to fall. But as you can see from the body language of Oman, not the way they're wanting this match to go right now. 14 overs remain. They need 81 more to win. At about a runnable. Singh happy to work that into the leg side. That'll bring the 50 up. Coming up in 37 deliveries. Just the first ball of the 7th over. As the power play ends, 5 fielders now allowed outside the circle, and all 5 of those being utilised by the Maldives captain Mohammed Azam, the wicket keeper you can see there behind the stumps. Deep square leg, cow corner, long on, long off. And we've got a man out of deep cover as well on the offside. So 2 on the offside, 3 in the deep on the leg side. One's going to be signalled wide. A little bit of disappointment from Adam Umar. Just try and get you a score from the other ground as Saudi Arabia look to really throw this tournament wide open by beating the UAE. Dropped. Outside edge. Through to Mohammed Azam. Wasn't an easy chance, but the second catch of the innings goes down. And for the second time, it's Kaur Ali. Short and wide. He looked for the cut shot outside off stump. Kaur Ali. Just stay with the replay as there's action going on. Cleared outside edge. Juggled through the gloves of Mohammed Azam. Back live with you now. Jatinder Singh just gets back for 2. So 1 delivery remains in the 7th over. Nice sweep shot from Jatinder Singh. The boundary's not coming here for Oman. And might not be concerning for today because they should go on to win this game, but it will be concerning for tomorrow. Quite likely to come up against the UAE in the semi-final, which is going to be a winner takes all. Only the winner will advance to the Asia Cup regional qualifier. We're just going to get you that score update from the Saudi Arabia game. Game on over on the Academy Turf Oval 2 here in Oman. Saudi Arabia are 48 for 1 after just 6 overs. And the big man Bilal Khan still there. So Saudi Arabia certainly have hope. They need 150 odd to win. That's live on our Asian Cricket Council YouTube channel. 2 T20 internationals going on just yards apart. We can hear the cheers from the Saudi Arabia bench coming from behind us. But at the moment, there hasn't been much to cheer in the field for the Maldives. On the main ground here, Turf Oval 1. Nalanthacore into the attack. His leg spinners and his headband on. Pumped into the deep. He's a lovely bowler to watch, Nalanthacore. Good piece of fielding. Save the boundary. Batsman will get back for 2. We saw him bowl with great effect and enthusiasm yesterday. And pulled into the deep. Might be back-to-back 2s here, but Karali is slow to turn. Keeps it to just a single. That's great encouragement. This Maldives side, amazing to see their enthusiasm. They've taken 2 real hammerings in their first 2 games, but it hasn't dampened even one bit. They're out here playing for their country. Delighted to be here and the brilliant facilities being laid on by the Oman Cricket Board for us. It's been a tournament that's been brilliantly hosted, it has to be said. 8 sides from right across the Gulf. It's the Asian Cricket Council Western region. The vast majority of the sides coming from the Middle East and the Gulf. Oman, Qatar, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the UAE. Really just the Maldives, not from the Gulf region. Missed out Kuwait on that list, of course, as well. We'll see them this afternoon. They'll be over on the second ground. Going into the final day and the final matches, it's still all to play for. Saudi Arabia scrapping for their lives against the UAE. The Maldives really trying to drag this game out. Look at Nalanthacore. The enthusiasm. 42 years of age he is, remember. Played 100 first-class games back in his native Sri Lanka. That's a really good over. Just 6 runs coming from it. Oman cannot get this run rate moving. The score after 8 overs is 63 for none. So Adeem off breaks are going to continue, and he's greeted with a reverse sweep. And a really good reverse sweep. Great efforts in the deep, and such misfortune. Right down in front of our commentary position. He's on as a sub-fielder. Ismail Badu. So unlucky, Ismail Nazwan Badu. He made good ground to the ball. He tried to scoop it back, but the momentum just carried the ball onto his arm and over the rope. Onto the rope, in fact. So the power hitting's not working for Oman, but they're just looking for some touch game. Reverse sweep used by Karali. Down the track this time. Just look at the 2 strike rates of the batsmen. Jatinder Singh 23 off 24, Karali 29 off 25, and It's a fine partnership, and Oman will go on to win this game, you'd have to expect, but not in the fashion that we were expecting. Looks for the reverse hit. Jatinder Singh's struggles continue. A wild hack outside the off stump, but he can't make any contact. Flatter this time down the leg side. It's a poor delivery and well put away. Relief for Jatinder Singh. He gets a real bad one from Adeem Umar. And a batsman of Jatinder Singh's class, surely that is far too easy. Yeah, a lot of 30s and 40s for Kaur of late. 38, 38. Look at the tri-series in Kathmandu. 41, 31, 10, 5. Finally some power from Oman's batsman. And Jatinder Singh has finally found the middle of the bat. That one soars all the way for 6. Back-to-back really poor deliveries from Adeem Umar. The long hop followed up by the full toss. Tries to overcorrect. And that one's hammered over the retaining fence for a giant 6. Yeah, good power from Jatinder Singh. Overpitched. Should have been an easy one to dispatch, and it was. Finally, this Oman innings gaining some momentum. And all of a sudden, just 52 more runs to win. Just punched into the leg side this time for a single. Adeem Umar coming around the wicket, trying to change up that angle. So 9 overs gone now. Oman 79 for none. Let's take a look at the partnership. Partnership worth 79, but the contributions from the two batsmen 67. With the runs on the screen. The Corey back from the pavilion end with his leg breaks. Yeah, really starting to heat up here in Muscat. The hottest day of the 3 so far that we've had play in this western region. See, our cameraman's got the towel on his head at the moment. Cut away, good stop at backward point. Always difficult off a leg spinner. The ball spins away from you to your left with the additional revs on the ball. That's a really good diving stop. Love to see a bowler bowling in the headband. A great man, the 42-year-old Nalanta Corey. Lovely loop hit down the ground. This could be the first chance. It's going to go over his head. Just for a moment. I thought that was going to go down the throat of the fielder at long off. But it's gone over his head for the second maximum of the innings. I think for a moment Ibrahim Ahmed thought he was in business as well. Wasn't a bad delivery. Nicely bowled, but uses his feet to the pitch of the ball. I'll stick with the replay for the second just to see this soar over back live. There was half a run out chance and yet another overthrow. The fourth one of the innings. I just wonder, is Nalanta Corey going to find the breakthrough here? Or are Jatinder Singh and Kaur who've both, well in fact the 2 lives Oman have had have both been to Kaur 2 drop chances so far. Sweep shot straight to Hassan Ibrahim. Short fine leg. Through for a single. If anyone's going to find the breakthrough for the Maldives, it's surely going to be Nalantha Corey. So impressive yesterday with the ball against Bahrain. His spell brought them back into the game after Bahrain's flying start. Powered down the ground towards long off. Is this going to be the chance? No. The screams from Nalantha Corey. Again for the second time, falling short of long off. So that's the halfway stage of this chase in terms of overs anyway. The score moves to 89 without loss. Just take a quick look at the batting card. So we have a change of bowling here. That's the Maldives batting card from earlier. They only made 129. Back live with you now. The change in bowling is Tharaka Ruan Kamara. He's just worked into the leg side for a single by Karali. It's not often that you'd have a dominant 10-wicket win and still have plenty to work on, but I think that's exactly the way Oman will look at this game. On the plus side, there's going to be runs and maybe half centuries for these two openers. Half an appeal. As Karali looks for the reverse sweep, he flicks out his right hand, indicating it came off his glove. So no contact with the pads there. This one powered into the leg side. Has it got enough? It does indeed. What a shot that is from Karali. He's finally finding some of that power hitting that we know him so well for. He really threw the kitchen sink at this one. Slog sweep. That's what happens when you bowl your off breaks around the wicket. You can really almost take LBW out of the game and hit high and handsome into the sky over the head of the fielder in Cow Corner. Back live with you now. Just a single. Hit into the leg side. Those graphics at the screen just catching up. It's 98 for none now. Big six from Karali. What a tournament he's having. Moves to the brink of another T20I half century. He's only got one to date. So an important milestone as at the end of 11 overs, Oman are 99 for none. So we're going to have another change in bowling here for the Maldives. And the man who's come into the team today, Ibrahim Ahmed, with his left arm spin. Maybe wondering why it's taken until the 12th over to bring him into the attack. None of his colleagues have had any success yet. Hearing cheers at the ground behind us. I wonder, are they Saudi Arabian cheers? Try and bring you a quick score update from there in a moment. Beautifully bowled, good flight from Ibrahim Ahmed. Oh, the Saudi Arabian chase starting to stutter at the hands of the UAE spinners. 60 for 3 they are after 10. They'll need 90 off the last 10 overs. They've lost their key man at the top of the innings as well. Between these two. And 50 for Kawarali as well. So a second T20 International 50 for him. He's going to try and add to it. Hammers that one down. Too long off. Let's take a look at the numbers for Jatinder Singh. He's got 40 off 34 deliveries at the moment. And what about Kawarali? A second T20 I-50 for him. His 50 coming from 35 deliveries. 4 fours and 2 sixes. Still plenty of enthusiasm from the Maldives bench. Trying to keep their troops going. Oh, misfield. Mohammed Rashid, the big man, gets done by the spin. That extra cover. Only a single. Good first over. That for Ibrahim Ahmed. 6 runs coming from it. 6 singles. 12 overs gone. Oh man. They can see the finish line. They're 105 for none. So yet another change in bowling. This time it's to Ibrahim Ahmed. He's going to bowl his off breaks. And he's greeted with a quite glorious shot. Probably the shot of the innings for my money. Kawarali, it was only a fraction over pitched. And he opens the face and goes through extra cover. Hit like a tracer bullet. Really beautiful shot from Kawarali. He's definitely starting to find his touch. Hasn't been easy going. Dropped twice. But he's looking for another Player of the Match award. And with shots like that, who's going to bet against him? Back-to-back fours. Ibrahim Ahmed being given no chance to get into his spell. First 2 deliveries both dispatched to the boundary. Down the track, and what a shot that is. 4-4-4, the first 3 deliveries of this over. And that was with elegance and grace. Down the track, right to the pitch of the ball. He didn't try to overhit it at all. Kawarali really racing away from his partner. Jatinder Singh just on 41. Kawarali moves to 64. Super batting. He wants 2 here as well. He's not going to get it. Good fielding in the deep from Adeem. So just 13 runs required, and Jatinder Singh is going to need to get his act together if he wants to get a T20 International half-century. He's realised that coming down the track, trying to use his feet. Yeah, Singh 3 T20 I-50s before today, looking for his 4th. He's got 9 runs to get. And he's counting his balls pretty cleverly because he only ever intended a single there. Wanted to keep the strike, and he will. 13 overs gone. Oman 119 for none. Short ball hit over the offside. Won't be enough time to get back for 2. So is Jatinder Singh going to be robbed of a half century? That's about the only real thing in play right now. Oman are going to go on and take this win by 10 wickets. Maybe 9. If the Maldives can find a late breakthrough. Kerala, I think, generously giving the strike back to Jatinder Singh, saying to his opening partner, go on, old boy, you have a chance. You need a couple of 4s. We need 9 to win. And you need 7 more runs to get to a half century. So do it. I just hope Oman don't come back to regret this, because their net run rate boost that they're going to get won't be that significant to 1. Cut powerfully. Jatinder Singh annoyed with himself, only he's going to get a single there. Because remember, if Bahrain can upset the odds and beat Qatar in the afternoon game on this very ground, it would leave 3 sides on 2 wins each with 4 points. Slower through the air, hammered into the offside, and it's going to be hammered for 4. That's not going to help Jatinder Singh's case of getting to 50. As Kerala moves to 70 not out. A shoe-in surely now for player of the match. A lovely shot. It was probably given too much flight from Ibrahim the bowler and hammered into the offside. He likes it through that extra cover region, Kerala. So Jatinder Singh's going to have a chance here, but he's going to need a maximum or a single. If he can hit this delivery for 6, the game will be all over, and he'll take his 4th T20 International 50. Or will he be even clever and just take the single? Let's find out. Comes down the track, he can't do either. Finishes the dot ball, throws his head back in frustration. 3 runs to win. 14 overs gone, Oman 127 for none. So Kerala is going to take the single and give his partner Jatinder Singh one last chance at this 50. There's just 2 runs to win, but if Jatinder Singh can clear the ropes with a maximum, he will get to 50. Comes down the track, hits it into the sky. Is it going to go all the way? Or will it be 1 bounce 4? It's going to be 1 bounce 4. So Jatinder Singh is going to end up just 2 runs shy of another T20I 50, but that personal landmark aside, doesn't matter too much, because Oman have taken the win, and they've taken it by 10 wickets. Perhaps not with the net run rate boost that they would have liked. You can see the scenes on your screen there, handshakes between the sides. It's been a game today, and in fact a tournament played in a brilliant spirit. There's high stakes at hand here, of course, places to play for in the regional qualifier for the Asia Cup, and a chance to be the solitary side that goes on to join the Test Nations. But as you can see there, the graphics at the bottom of your screen, Oman have taken the win, and they've taken it by 10 wickets. For about 30 minutes this morning, if you were watching back in the Maldives, as we know you were in your thousands, you were dreaming of a famous win. I called it David versus Goliath, this clash today in associate cricket terms. The Maldives ranked 74th in the world, playing against the 17th ranked home side Oman. But they've accounted themselves really well. Proud day for them, particularly for Mohammed Rashid, his 3rd T20I half century. A batsman of great talent. struck the ball all around the ground. 4 massive sixes down the ground as well. But after that, the innings just fell away for the Maldives. They could only post 129. They probably should have got up to something like 150, 160. And from there, with the 2 drop chances of Kaur Ali, it was all over, she wrote. So lovely to see the handshakes between the teams. The Maldives are out of the Western Region Asian Cricket Council T20 qualifier with none from 3. And that confirms that Oman win by 10 wickets. 72 not out for Kaur Ali, 48 not out for Jatinder Singh. No joy for the bowlers. 2 drop catches, both coming off the bowling of Adeem Umar. One of those he's got himself to blame for. And the second one put down by his captain, the keeper. So no real joy there, but nice little spell from Ibrahim Ahmed. And again, Hassan Ibrahim, the big tall fast bowler, so impressive this week. He's one to continue to watch in the future. What does that mean for the points table? Let's take a look at the net and run rate. Here comes the crucial calculations. The boys have had the calculators out. And it means Oman go above Bahrain. But if Bahrain can beat Qatar, we will have 3 sides level on 4 points apiece. And with the way Qatar's net run rate is, there's no way they can really be caught at the top of the table unless we have an extraordinary result. But if Bahrain can take a decent-sized win over Qatar, Oman could come to rue the fact that they didn't chase down that Maldives total in a quicker hurry. Their net run rate 1.03. Bahrain 0.57 behind them. So we're going to have the calculators out this afternoon if Bahrain get the win. And in the meantime, you can go over and join our live stream of the Group B match between the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia scrapping for their lives. So that's the match summary. Oman take the win in dominant fashion by 10 wickets, as we really expected them to. Kaur Ali, 72 not out. I suspect it could be another Player of the Match award for him. We'll leave those presentation scenes on the screens behind you, but for now, it's me, Andrew Leonard, signing out. We'll be back with you, not altogether too long, in about an hour and 20 minutes time for the second game of this Group B. It's going to be the Group B decider, as the top of the table, Qatar, will take on Bahrain. We'll see you in just over an hour's time.